What's up? All right, funny thing, before we start this podcast, we've talked for about 10 minutes and I didn't press record. So now it's going to be weird to go
Big
back.
fail.
Big ass fail. Welcome to TOL Talk of Life podcast. As always, your host, Dooley. And today I have two guests. These are comedians. I met them through comedy. Don't worry, it's recording now. Harry, San, and Gustav, welcome to TOL. Welcome to Talk of Life. How are you guys?
Oh, thank you. I'm good.
Thank you.
I'm good.
I'm still okay.
All right.
I'm still good.
Are you still good after my failure? Now it's hard to go back to the conversation where we started. So, yeah, I haven't seen you for a long time.
Just about 10 seconds, I think,
10 seconds?
since last time we spoke. Yeah.
Geesh.
That's how, yeah.
All right.
We should just bring a whole different energy to it this time.
Yes, maybe I shouldn't talk. We started talking about politics, guys, and environment, and all the energy went down. All these white people hated me. I mean,
Thankfully,
sorry,
all the
guys.
racist things we said, thankfully, never recorded.
Come on, guys. But I would like to go back to you, Gustav. What do you do again?
I'm a pilot.
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 Of
Airplanes.
airplanes. What plane did you say again?
737.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. I still want you to do your captain voice.
Oh,
I
right.
want to see if you switch
Yeah.
voices.
Okay. I just have my...
This plane is not going to land properly. We'll see
yeah.
today.
Yeah. A little bit like that. No, you have to always to assure passengers to be very calm.
Mhm.
If it's very, very windy, you say it's breezy. If it's very, very foggy, you say it's hazy.
Hmm.
If it's
So you have code words.
Yeah. If it's like a thunderstorm, you say it's a little bit wet. So you have to downplay the weather a little bit.
Okay.
And if the plane is going down, what do you say?
It always goes
It's a bit
down.
shaky.
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
goes up must
Yeah.
come down.
Yeah. Time flies, yeah.
Time flies.
Not this airplane, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Not this plane.
Not this plane. What is it more hard? Studying to become a pilot or being a pilot?
Studying to become a pilot.
Yeah, I would always assume that.
Yeah. There's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah, I mean, we're all comedians here. You know, one of my favorite, I think Dave Chappelle, not my favorite, but one of the good jokes from Dave Chappelle says, we cannot have bad apples when it comes to airplane. I think it was Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah, I know that
Yeah,
one.
like
yeah.
all apples have to be
Yeah.
good. All pilots have to be good. You can't have one bad apple.
That's what
So
we
I
like. That's what we like to people to think. Yeah.
But that's not the reality. What are the challenges that you're faced with your work?
Early days, getting up early, but I think that's very normal. I get up at like 4 in the morning to go for early flights. And for me for a captain or like the first pilot, then it's mostly responsibility, that I'm responsible for everything. And at the beginning, that's kind of hard until you learn how to delegate and to trust that people do their jobs. Because when you're responsible for everything, you're very paranoid in the beginning.
Yeah, because it's also about lives, you know. It's not only your family, what you're used to, you know, if it's your parents or your kids or whoever, but this is like life of people and then different people all the time. How often do you fly? Let's say a week.
Next week, so I'm gonna work every day, pretty much. I have one day I'm standby, so 4 days out of 7, I suppose, yeah. And then that's 4 flights per day. So that's, what's that, 4 times 4, 16 flights?
Wow.
In a week.
In a week. And
Yeah.
do you go international or it's just...
The only domestic one we do is Arlanda, just Stockholm and back. And then we go a lot to the Balkans, to Croatia, Bosnia, some to Spain, and to the UK, to like Stansted. And
All right. We are friends, you know, me and you now we're friends. And, you know, I need to travel a lot and I'm broke. So
Yeah.
I need that free car.
Yeah, I wish I could. Before we had tickets we could just give away.
Oh,
But
really?
they stopped that.
they
because-
stopped that.
Yeah, because you would get 6 tickets every year to
Yeah.
like to friends and family. But then people were selling those tickets,
Oh, man.
so they stopped
Greedy.
doing that.
What about you, Harry? What do you do? He's a pilot. And you?
Yeah, I'm the first-hand officer. No, no, I study, and then I'm a part-time cab driver.
Mm, that's nice. How do you guys balance work and you study with comedy? Because that's where I met you guys. How do you guys balance and how do you find the courage to write? Like I would assume you, Gustav, is like as you say, it's a lot of work, and then I don't know if you have anxiety going there. You have to make sure you go off safe, you come back safe, and everything goes as planned. How do you balance that and doing comedy?
I do it on my days off. The first few years of comedy, I would do it like on some early shifts, but I realized that I I did too much comedy at some point, and then I kind of burned out myself. So now I'm balancing. I'm trying to do it once or twice a week maximum. And the bad thing about that is that you don't really develop so much. So unfortunately, I have to realize that I'm stepping back. I'm still doing comedy, but I'm not aiming high anymore somehow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sad to hear.
It's sad, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Why
Yeah.
do you even
Yeah,
do
yeah,
comedy
yeah.
then?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
why-
if you're not aiming high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's a bit of a crisis almost. But I love doing it so much. But I realize that if I do it like 3 times a week, I'm just too tired. I can't. I'm just gonna get sick.
Yeah, I can imagine having a bad day at work and then you're going to open mic somewhere and you do all your jokes and they're not working. Can you imagine that? And then next morning you have to go to work. I can't.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you balance yourself?
Yeah, no, I've also given up. That's how.
Oh, come
No.
on, guys. Don't,
No,
yeah, yeah.
no, I don't know. I have quite flexible studies and a very, very flexible job, so I can kind of plan it quite well. And I know I think it helps that from most stand-up gigs, you sort of have to like approach it a week before. So you're usually quite optimistic in what you can do, you know.
Oh,
So you sort of have to go there after you've booked it, even though you don't feel like it the same day.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be, if it was like literally drop in open mic, like you have to just go there and see if you can get a spot, then I think I would be there like once a month instead.
Okay. So there is a time where you feel like, okay, I want to book myself, and then you book yourself, and then later you'll be like, damn, I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's usually worth it like afterwards or like during the gig.
All right.
So it's just like when you get home at like 6, it doesn't feel that nice to you. Like at 7 you have to go back again, you know.
What are your processes of writing, coming up with jokes, new material?
I don't know. I used to be quite structured and like literally sit down and in front of the computer and be like, I'm gonna write jokes about this subject.
In the beginning?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I want to do that again because it helped a lot to actually just get that routine in. And I would have a goal that I would write like 5 jokes a day, and they wouldn't have to be good, but just to keep the routine up, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But lately it's just been a lot of like building up on material on stage or like discussing with other comedians or just.
Well, you discuss with other comedians. Like you help each other with jokes, like, oh, this line funny. This
Yeah, like just afterwards, like after a gig, you can talk about like a routine that worked a little halfway, and you can discuss how that could be improved. It works.
What about your process, Gu?
I used to
I
do
call
this.
you Goo.
Goo. Yeah.
G-man.
It's been. Yeah, I like to do the same thing. Right, sit down and write. I rarely get a joke from that, but it starts my brain working. And then usually when I'm at the gym, after I finish workout and I'm having a shower, then all the jokes come for some reason.
After shower, just shower?
Yeah.
You only do shower?
Yeah. That's all I do. And then it's called That's usually where jokes, or when I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, there's a joke, and I write it down. But I think it comes.
They bothers me a lot, the one at the middle of the night. Sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off. But I'm like, I can't wake up now to
Yeah,
write this joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to, otherwise you're gonna forget it. Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
forget all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the key is like every time you come up with just a little bit of thing, just write it down, you know.
Yeah.
Like I definitely find myself overestimating what I will remember.
Oh, yeah. My process, in the beginning, I started to sit down. I'm like, okay, I have 3 hours. Let me come up with the jokes. And after 3 hours, I will have one line of a joke that is very horrible. Like, I can't just sit. For me, jokes comes if let's say I'm listening to a song and I heard a word. I'm like, oh, a story. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is something I remember it happened. So I started writing. And then if I have a show next week and I want to write something, I can spend 5 days and the 6th day is the show. 5 days I can come up with nothing important. And then on the day when I start getting nervous, and I started repeating the jokes. Okay, this and this and this and this. Oh, this line doesn't work. Then I put this. When I get nervous, I get my material.
Yeah.
And when I'm just relaxed, I'm trying to write, I don't get anything. Like, I still find it very hard. So now I'm building up all my material. The day of the show, that's when I'm, start writing. And then I remember, like, I can say half of my time writing jokes is like when I'm in the tram. I'm going to, and then I'm coming up, and then I write. And then I write a little note like, don't forget this word, and then I forget it. But then if I forget the first time, the second time I will not. I'll not forget. And that's how it works for me. I don't want it to be like that, but so far that's how it's working. Like it's very weird.
It's a good energy that doesn't feel good. It's like, I feel bad the whole day of a set somehow. But it's like a good nervousness. It's a good nervousness the whole day. I feel like, oh shit, this is gonna be terrible, and then, but I come up with ideas then, like you do, and then if I don't have that nervousness, it's usually not a great gig because then I'm too sure of myself. You need confidence, but you need nervous kind of confidence. I mean, that's my brand anyway. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah, you guys have started a little bit way before, not way, but before me. What are the other places other than Gothenburg that you guys have done, and how was it?
I think I've only been to Jönköping, Stockholm, and then once in Halmstad, I think. And so Stockholm just at Big Ben.
Big Ben, yeah, I've been
Yeah,
there.
classic.
Yeah.
And then Jönköping was like one of my first gigs because they had this open mic thing. I'm not sure if they're going to continue doing it.
Was that with Gabriella?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. We might have been there together, I think, possibly.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think I was there twice. But I'm not sure.
Look at me getting jealous now. Okay,
Yeah.
continue.
But then there was this like summer thing in Jönköping as well, like outdoor kind of
Oh,
thing.
I remember Kosha
Yeah.
was writing me saying if I want to come there, but I was working all the time,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It was quite weird because the audience was so spread out. So it's like a really big, it was like 50 meters to like the...
Do they hear you?
And you reach a point in the audience where like it starts to fade out. Like the audience that are furthest away, they're just not at all like involved with the stage. They're just
And they
talking,
talk.
eating dinner and whatever.
Oh.
And then you have this weird middle section that are kind of like, yeah, and looking back and forwards.
In and out?
Yeah, and then you do have the people in front of the stage that...
Pay attention.
Yeah, so outdoor gigs are exciting.
For me, it would be good because then I can start doing acrobatics if they're not paying attention to my jokes.
Oh,
do
you would.
something physical and stuff like that. I have this idea where I want to put my physical ability into my comedy, but most of the places here, the stages, is very. I don't, and it's open mic, so I can't complain. But it's only Underlong. That's where it's the place I could do flip, and I've done it. But I want to
do it in Kville as well.
Yeah, I did at Phil, and I was scared because I was in the middle. I walked into the lane where there's chairs on the right, chairs on the left, and then in the middle. So that for me was like, okay, because I didn't want to hit the mic at the back, so I moved forward a little bit. And I did that at Viva once.
Oh, that's
but there
impressive.
was there was no audience.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
So I'm like, and I was a host. Yeah, I remember I was a host, and it was like Christmas, and it was like 9 people, and you can see they were like, this is boring and everything. So I just removed the chair, did a flip, and then everybody paid attention. It was like giving them a shot or something. And they're like, okay, so now let's go. It's your turn to do a flip, and then they started paying attention. But it was really good. What about traveling, guys? Because I'm sure most of you have traveled, especially the pilot. I don't want to even look at you right now. Like I have this now ambition because I grew up in Zanzibar where to save up the minimum wage at the time I was growing up, it was about $30 to $40 a month.
A month.
Look at this pilot, like a month. I get that by a minute. All right? A month minimum wage.
Yeah.
To this day, a worker, the cleaner who cleans in your home, they get 100,000 shilling. That equivalent to $50.
50.
$50. That's 500 kroner for you Swedish people. A month.
Shit.
So imagine if you want to travel, and the ticket costs about $400 or $500.
Yeah.
How much do you need to save up? So for me, traveling was never a dream before. It didn't feel like, no, I will never be able to accomplish that when I was young. But now I'm like, oh, I'm in Sweden. Yeah, I have a minimum wage here. It's different, so I can save up for a year and travel. But you guys, you must have been traveling because you are privileged white people. But I want to know your experiences of traveling.
Yeah, I don't know, how do I approach this? Oh, like, yeah, I've traveled the whole world.
Come on, you can brag.
I don't
Don't
know.
worry, I don't feel bad.
No, I have like a lifetime goal of visiting every country.
Okay.
That's my
How many countries? Oh, every country.
every
though.
country is my lifetime goal. Yeah,
Wow.
I'll see about that. But I have done a lot of like budget traveling and just taking every opportunity to go on like the weirdest destinations just because it's cheap and I could do it, or I have a time slot in my schedule.
And it's much cheaper, by the way, to travel within Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Than to travel from my island to mainland.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, like when I book a ticket from here to Barcelona, it might be the same price from ticket that a plane takes 15 minutes from my
Yeah.
island to the mainland. Like,
Yeah.
so it becomes even harder to take that. That's why I told
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
I didn't come here with airplane. You can imagine. You can imagine how I got here.
Yeah,
But-
it's crazy.
How many countries have you traveled?
Me? I'm up to 41 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I should say that like maybe like 32 of them or something are in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's like largely, it's a bit of like cheating. It would be a whole different story if that was like 42 countries outside of Europe,
Yeah, but still almost 10.
Yeah, nine.
I mean,
think,
9 outside Europe.
a lot recently as well of those.
And I guess half of them with your parents.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
No?
I think it's like equally many with my parents, equally
Oh.
many with friends, and equally many alone.
Nice.
If you count all of them,
All right, this is a stupid question. What about you, Gustav? How many countries? Do
Oh,
you even
yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I've been to a lot of... Sometimes when we go with the plane and we stay for 25 minutes, does that count?
Do you go out? Cause
Yeah. I go out, step on the airplane on the ground.
No. Do you go out outside the airport?
No,
Cause
no.
Because if you're transit to another country, if you're still in the airport, it doesn't count.
Okay. I don't know any number actually, but
Could be a lot.
Could be a lot. Yeah. I haven't traveled so much I think I've been in most countries in Europe, but I haven't been too much to Asia. I've been to the States, been to Mexico. Haven't been to Canada actually. This is not interesting, but I've been a few places. Yeah, I think when I was a kid, we didn't travel too much. We just went to this island called Gotland.
I wanna
for
go.
That
holidays.
definitely counts.
That counts as a foreign country. Yeah.
I want to go there. I heard it's beautiful. There's nice beach and everything. I just
Yeah.
want to go and prove, like, no, you don't have a nice beach to where I'm from.
No. I think someone told me once that Scotland is our Hawaii, but I think Canary Islands are our Hawaii actually.
Where are they?
Canary Islands? It's off the coast of Morocco,
Oh,
but
you
it's super popular to go from.
you guys own it?
No.
No,
Oh.
but we think we do.
Yeah, the Spanish does, so we
The
think we
Spanish
do.
own it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's full of Germans, English. I was going to say white people, but, but I'm not going to appropriate your language here.
Come on, you can say white power.
Yeah.
I find it easy though to speak with people who have traveled more. You know, like
Yeah.
especially outside Europe, you need to do more. Especially outside Europe, it's easier because I think that they've learned how to interact with different kind of people that don't look like them or don't even have same culture.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's harder for me. I mean, now I learn how to cope, but in the beginning it was harder for me. Like when someone don't understand, like, oh, for example, a simple issue as, yeah, back at home we don't use toilet paper. We just wash our ass with water. I'm like, how come? Why would you do that? Then they get a little bit like, they look at us as we're disgusting and this and this, and used to get like, you know, a little bit offended. And now it's a bit different. I understand, okay, you just don't have the knowledge. You haven't traveled enough to see how people live their life. So this is why I'm like fascinated by, like I usually ask a lot of people how much you have traveled. So for me, it's like, okay, so I know at what level I can communicate, can communicate with you. So when it comes to cultural differences, how much have you guys been exposed, if you know what I mean?
Mediocrely, I think. I mean, as I said, like 3/4 of the countries I've been to are in Europe, so I mean, it's quite varying. I have never been to like South America, North America.
All right,
I mean,
but you are also in a generation where we use a lot of social media, so
I mean like that, yeah.
it becomes easier now to to see something, to know what to say, know what to say. But the older generation, because I work as a post office, and you can see the difference how I attract with people. Like the older, they're either very nice or very racist. Like there's no there's
in
no
between.
no in between. Very nice, like so nice that they invite you, they give you fika, and they don't want to leave because I think most of them they're alone, so they need that someone to talk to, and they get excited when they see a postman. And some of them are very racist. Like 2 years ago, one person spat on me, literally, and told me it was the 3rd of January. And he says, "Go back to where you're from." And I say, "Hey, thank you, and I mean, Happy New Year to you." I couldn't say it. He's old. What am I gonna say? But you guys are, as being Swedish, like, how do you see immigrants coming here, and how do you see the rising up of different culture in Sweden? What's your opinion on that?
Are you asking if we're in the in the team of very nice or in the team of very racist?
Sort of, sort of. It's an uppercut, like small jabs on you guys. I want to see if I'm friends with racist people.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. The doors are locked.
It's a trap for me.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about different cultures. I lived in Turkey for 2 years.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah, I worked in a Turkish airline, and that was a very different culture. That's what I want to say. But people coming to Sweden, so I mean, I've been immigrated a few times from Sweden, and then I'm coming back to Sweden. And I'm quite happy that Sweden is a country that people want to come to.
All right, yeah.
Because what was it? I don't know. It's like in America, people come to America because it's a good country. People want to go there.
And the American dream.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like, I don't know why it feels like that to me, but we kind of, I don't know if we copied that, but it's like, it's nice that it's a good country for people to come to. I like that. And then it's a big issue. Like, it's a big issue. No, but I mean, there are problems, of course, but I don't know whose responsibility it is to solve it. Like if the people group up in certain areas, and that maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. And that's why this election was really weird last time. Because it's like, we have the racist party, and then the other party that are not racist, but kind of. And then it's like, they're like, yeah, let's do that. And they're like, yeah, but yeah, it's weird.
But what makes them racist, though? Like
I think it's the xenophobia is where it starts. I think you're scared of what you don't know.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of where it starts. I think.
Yeah, like it's for me as an immigrant. Everybody should know that in Sweden, like it's very hard for me to accept most of the things from the right or from the left. If you know what I mean. Like I see some of them, like I am from the island where our island is very small, but there's nice beach and everything, and we see all these foreigners, especially white people with lots of money. They come there, they invest, and then I remember one guy, he was Danish, he said this like, "Oh, you Africans are so stupid. You have so much things here and you don't even know how to use it." And I'm like, okay, did you go to school? Yes. Was it free? Yes. Or, like in Denmark, I'm like, okay, did you have stress of what you're going to eat, what your parents, no. So how do you know what it's like to study here? You know what I mean? And we, myself included, like we didn't want to see, like you can come there and travel 1 week or two, but live there to invest there, because all these white people, they become rich and they own now like about 80% of all the beach in Zanzibar. And there is an area where it became like back in South Africa, if you know, like, oh, this is no black people allowed beach. It became like no locals are allowed. Like you can walk up to 10 kilometers, no locals are allowed to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Like they've been living there. You just come and own, and they build hotels one after another. They didn't even make a road.
Oh,
So
really?
at the top of the island of Zanzibar, one of the island like this at the northern top, all area is covered by hotels. All that area, there is no a narrow street to go to the beach for the locals. So you have to go through the gates, and then locals got really mad. We cannot fish. We cannot go to the beach. So they decided we're gonna burn everything, and then they allow from 7 in the morning. You can pass until 7 in the evening. At night, you're not allowed to. So
wow.
from me, like coming from there and having that feeling and thought, and then I come here and I see from the other side, and it's like I don't accept it, but I sort of understand a little bit, like why they're saying that. Some of the arguments, I'm not saying all of them. I understand a little bit why is it like that, because of where I'm from. But then if we look at the privilege side, I don't think a person like me is as privileged as a person like you going to my country. First of all, you don't need a visa. You don't need to apply for a visa to go there. You can just go there and pay $50 and you're in. I have to send an application to come here, and I have to pay $150. That's 1,500 kroner. Then I have to wait, and if they don't accept me, that money is gone. Right? And they not only that, they ask you what's your bank statement, where do you work, we want your work permit and everything. But when you guys, you can just book to go there. You know what I mean? So I see like that, like this is some of the things that people don't really understand, and I want to bring out my perspective to you guys, and I want to hear your perspective. All right, these guys thought this was going to be a fun
exactly. Like
podcast.
defend your colonialism. Damn it.
Gotta pick one approach now.
All right, take a deep breath and explain yourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, well, you people have not.
Yes,
No,
we
no,
people.
definitely a privileged situation. You know, I don't know what is the passport. They say it's like the 4th or 5th best passport, like the Swedish
In the
ones.
world.
Yeah. So it's just that thing, the whole process of money being paid, and especially like when you're coming from a different country like that, the sum you gotta pay means a lot different as well. It's like exponentially much more expensive to go the other way around.
It is. Like for people who don't even have, that enough of money to buy a ticket, the visa costs way more than someone from here to go there. You know what I mean? You just pay 50 at the door. They don't ask your work, where you're from, if you're criminal. They don't. I had to provide a criminal. I have to go to the police and my criminal record before I came here. Like, how is that fair? Explain.
Yeah.
No, it's unfair. It's very unfair. I was just thinking about, you said the monthly salary is $40. So it's like I would have to pay 4 months salary to go to another country. That's really strange.
Yeah, without eating, paying for your
Without even paying for the ticket.
Yeah.
Which is probably like 7 months salary.
Yeah.
And then I need to eat something as well.
and pay for other stuff. Yeah.
So
Expensive.
Yeah, you guys need to travel a little bit more other than Europe. I keep telling people that I think for me it's much nice that I am in Europe, and I have I can have a privilege to go different places, in Europe now, because I can afford. But at the same time, I'm like, I haven't been able to travel in Africa, in the continent of Africa, and there's very exciting, beautiful countries over there. So I want to go back there. Like, why am I wasting? If I go to Copenhagen, the only difference is how they speak. One have potatoes in their mouth, and one is, there's no much difference. But if I go different countries in Africa, like even the culture difference, you will see like, within Tanzania, you go to the northern, they wear different. Even they have their own language. They like very different. But if I go to Copenhagen, I don't see much of a difference here. So
yeah. How much do you think that is perspective from like your side? Do you think people that would go to Africa would see a bigger difference as well, going from Tanzania to a neighboring country?
Most definitely, most of them. If they go there not for the beach only. Because because people just going there, oh, I want the sun, and I go there for the sun. They stay 2 weeks, they get burned, they come here lobster. They live human, they come back here as lobsters. But most people, they do change perspective. Most of them. Like I know a lot of people who, especially my friends from, I feel like I'm being interviewed here. my friends from Sweden, so-called friends, like when I tell them like go and let me know, and when they get back here, it's like, oh my God, I want this tea, I want this food. Where do I get these spices? No, I want this. Can I wear this? Can I do this? You know, they get excitement in sort of way. So I will like encourage people, not only in Africa, like somewhere Asia, South America, like go see other people, learn other people's culture, learn how they live, appreciate life where you are. Like today I say to myself, I grew up in a very harsh life. I was a bit homeless for a while, but then I look at the kids in Palestine, like how they live life now. I'm like, am I gonna compare myself? Like I had friends, I had playgrounds I could play. These kids, they're friends with the Israeli soldiers. You know what I mean? It's like it's hard for me to compare. So I'm appreciating where I'm from and where I am right now. Like I feel like a lot of people here with stress and depression is like they don't even learn a little bit how to appreciate what that little that they have, they consider as little they have, as waking up, going to school, take a tram, you know, and stuff like that. So I will tell people to travel more.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, because also we didn't know much. Like when I was growing up, like no one traveled anywhere really. Like it was exotic to go to Spain somehow. That's like the most exotic place you could go somehow, I felt.
And now Swedish people own a lot of houses by the beach.
Yeah. Well, they sell them. We have the money.
Yeah.
But that's also the thing. Should you not enjoy the things that you have because other people have less?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. You should enjoy.
Oh, I thought you said no. You should not enjoy it.
You should not enjoy
Stop
it.
that.
Bad.
No, you should enjoy, but you should also be compassionate. You should try to help.
Yeah.
I think helping each other is way better than only helping yourself.
Yeah. That's I think big key. I think to make sure, because it feels good to help. It feels good to give as well. Yeah.
Going back to comedy, because I can see your eyes, guys, are about to
It's
cry.
a big topic. Yeah, it's a big topic. Yeah.
It is a big.
And you're also like kind of walking on eggshells a little bit.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. No one is gonna cancel. There's only 2 viewers
Yeah.
in my podcast.
Yeah.
Oh well, in that case, well,
Don't worry about it. No, I want a real.
But it's like it sucks about like because I agree with, like I think Africa is so crazy huge, so many resources, and it just sucks so much that people are poor there, because it's like there's so much potential somehow, and it's like, why is it like that? And it's like, okay, I agree that it's probably European, what do you call it, colonialism, that kind of decimated everything. But it's like how well, we're not going to solve that. We need more red wine here, I think. Like, how are we going to like give it back to the locals so that everyone can enjoy it somehow? Because you don't want like 3 guys taking all the money as well. And it's like,
which is still happening. You know, there's a lot of African countries are still paying back to French colonialism or other. They're paying billions a year for their freedom. They were the one who were conquered and beaten and enslaved, and they still had to pay for their freedom.
Yeah.
Like, how is that even still going with all the human rights and stuff like that? And one of my friends, she went to Kenya and she came back. He was like, can I tell you something? Our coffee comes from Africa, right?
Yeah.
Sweden. And I had the worst coffee in Kenya, but I have the best coffee here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that. So how do we solve it? I don't know how, but there's a suggestion where I would say, for example, first of all, stop taking the stuff from there. That's the first thing. And then share your knowledge. Share knowledge of how to improve life. Other than, there's a French minister or the president when he went to Ghana and say, oh, we're going to offer you some help. We're going to get some of your students a year to France and they can learn into our university. And the president of Ghana said, no, why don't you help build a university in Ghana So we don't have to make these people go there. They can just study here and give us the resources of knowledge. You know what I mean? So that's for me. That's how I feel like it. For me, I'm building a bridge from here, Europe and Africa when it comes to sports, because that's where I grew up loving doing sports. So I learn from here and I go there and I try to give my knowledge from here to there. Because if I'm trying to take 2-3 people to come here, it's only 2-3 people.
Yeah.
But if I can give the knowledge, I can give to those 2-3 people. They can give to other, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's a start, I guess.
That's a good philosophy. Yeah.
It is very deep, guys. It is very deep.
I guess the whole risk with it all is as well, like, to accidentally create a brain drain. You know, like when you're also sending them to France, for example, to study, and then who says they're gonna return to Ghana once they have the education to get a job in France? They might as well stay there and earn 100 times more. And and then everything you've done is like sending people out of the country instead, and like
basically they're taking the brilliant minds out of the country.
Yeah.
Because they're taking only the top, the geniuses of the countries. Okay, these are the genius, and this looks like they can do something. Let's take them back. Like now in East Africa, there was a guy who built a helicopter, an African guy who built a helicopter. One guy knew how to get water from air, like in the morning, so he built this, something that will cost, like if you put developed things, it will cost about $1,000, but it brings liters and liters of water. You don't need to have a water resource. You just need to have air and an open space. That's it. But those are dimmed down like, oh, you're going to pollute the air, or you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like these guys are finding solutions to problems. Like, don't just, come there. Can you imagine, like in Congo, people are starving. And the most country in Africa with the forest, the biggest forest and most nutritious land is there. Is Congo. Like, how can that be possible? They don't have food.
yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
No. There's so many. Did you see on the news the other day about the Wagner group? This Russian military.
What happened?
They are huge in the Congo, apparently. They are there as like paramilitary.
Wow.
I don't know if that's the correct word, paramilitary, but they're
it is.
there like securing assets for Russia, and they're having like doing the same kind of. I think it's like a colonial thing. Like they are there to secure the mines, like
mines,
gold
yeah.
mines.
Oh yeah, there's Russia, there's Chinese.
Yeah, the Chinese as well. They do the
Those
same
are the
thing.
two biggest owning in Congo.
Yeah, that's not great either.
No.
It's not just us.
No.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh my God. All right. So when it comes to jokes, what are your plans for you say you guys, you've let me down a little bit, like it feels like Gustav is quitting with comedy.
No,
slowly.
I'm having a big project now I'm thinking of, because I have probably like 50 or 60 sets recorded on my phone, if not more.
Wow.
And my next
With
plan,
all different jokes?
No, I mean like with all different sets.
Sets.
So
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of different jokes, but different times I told the same jokes.
All right.
So my goal for the next weeks and month is to make like one long audio file that's maybe like 3 hours long, and just listen through that and learn what's funny about me. You know,
Do you have a family?
I have a wife,
No kids?
no kids, no
Brother, sister?
brothers,
parents?
and sister and parents. Yeah.
So they've been telling you you're not funny your whole life. You have to listen
Yeah,
to
Yeah, you find the material to prove to them that you're funny.
I am. Look,
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Listen to
Yeah,
this.
No, because there's a lot of no laughs on those 3 hours. I'm sure.
It sounds
No,
so
but that
awful.
doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're not funny.
No, but I'm just because I think Jerry Seinfeld, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he said the audience will tell you what's funny about you, and if you're smart, you will listen. So that's what I'm trying to be smart and listen. So I'm going to, because people tell me why I'm funny, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought I was funny.
That was funny, yeah.
I didn't think that was what the funny thing about me. And then I'm realizing maybe I'm missing something. Because if I can figure out by listening to those 3 hours, was like, oh, I'm funny because I'm doing this and that. And then I can kind of focus on that. Because I'm usually trying to write good jokes, very structured jokes. Then I talked to Philip, you know Philip Hjelmer?
Yeah.
And he said he doesn't like people who do that.
Yeah, I know. I've got the exact same.
What
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of joke did you do?
No, he just says like he called them Excel spreadsheet comedians, people that are just like sit down and have like their jokes like beep pop 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 pop. Here's the joke, now that funny laugh. And when he told me he doesn't like that, I feel like, but that's me, I do that. But then he said, but you don't do that, and I'm like, why don't I? And I thought I did, but then there's something others, because like a few weeks ago I started the night, and I wanted to do like really kind of wild material. I mean, I'm not a very wild guy, but
We can tell.
yeah, exactly. So I did a lot of like my raciest jokes somehow. I'm banging on the table. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
And 3 people just stood up and left. And he thought that was so funny that I'm this big square somehow. I look like a huge nerd, and I'm making 3 people leave.
Yeah.
And he thought that was because I was listening to the set afterwards, and he's like, "Oh, I have to apologize," because I was apparently so. I was a bit too crazy, and he thought that was funny, but I didn't notice the whole thing. So that's why I want to listen to all of these things, and maybe if I'm happy with it, I can maybe cut down and release like audio specials, or something like this, like the best things. If I have the energy to do that.
Yeah, you can do it while you're flying, because you can just put autopilot.
Yeah. No, I shouldn't say things here.
Do you ever try material on the radio?
No, never. I'm kind of like I don't want to mix it with work.
You are so calculated on things. I feel like, okay, this is what I do, and it's only here, and then over there I do something else. Well, for me it's different. If I'm at work and I have a joke, I don't tell that I'm trying a joke on you. I'll just do the joke, and I get the reaction. They're like, "Yo, dude, you're hilarious," or "That's sick," or "That's this, that's that." You know. For example, I had a joke. I'm gonna say it anyway. I had this joke, and I try on people, say, "You know, my son is biracial. He's half black, half racist." You get that reaction. I'm like, okay, this is funny, and I write like that. So I just put everything around me to do that. What about you?
You mean how structured I am in the writing?
Structured, and what's your plan with comedy?
Well, I think for now, just this year, I want to do a lot more. Just do as much stand-up as I can, especially going to other places. Because last year, I was thinking I was going to go and do stand-up in Stockholm at Big Ben quite often, just to get that variation. But then it just went there twice, and I feel like I want to do more of that, especially in other cities.
Yeah,
the year, and
I need to know people, because it's very expensive to stay in hotels and go on places, and especially now in the beginning, I don't get paid. So if I'm not getting paid, it feels like, why am I putting all my money? But I have Malmö and Copenhagen gig next month, which I'm very excited. I always wanted to go to Copenhagen and stuff like that, so yay.
Yeah, I've also thought about going to Copenhagen and trying the stand-up scene there. There's so many places when you look it up.
Yeah,
they're very extremely organized. And
I think they are.
In Copenhagen?
Yeah, they have their own website for the stand-up scene, and then they have this full-on list, these are the open mic places, these are the ones that cost, and then these are,
Who knew Danish people are funny?
Yeah.
We always talk shit about them. I mean, you guys, not me. I love Danish people. I'm coming to Denmark, guys.
Copenhagen is practically Swedish. That's what I'm saying. No.
Swedish?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, just across the bridge,
Yeah, they can say the same. Malmö, definitely Copenhagen.
Well, no. But I think I've heard that their biggest comedy club is full-time a comedy club. The club owns the locality. It's nothing else. It's not a bar or a restaurant that they sometimes at.
So it's just a comedy club, and people can book themselves.
The Comedy Zoo, I think it's called. What I've heard. And it's every day they have some stand-up show. They have mixed, they have an open mic night. They have different shows there. Its sole purpose is stand-up, or at least comedy in some senses.
Wow. Well,
gonna
my plan is when I get there, because I have 2 days. I'm going there for 3 days. I'll be Malmo first day, and then the second day, which I was given places to go and ask for open mics. I can just drop in. So I'm gonna survey all the areas, and I'm gonna try to book myself for the next. Like I want to go back. I don't want to do Göteborg anymore. Like not anymore, but I don't want to do it as much as going different places. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna look, and I'll come back. I'll give you some information. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about
Don't
that.
forget us,
Yeah,
Dooley.
Come on, guys.
Forget where you come
Danish.
from.
Well, Zanzibar. I have a question for you guys. What are the, maybe one of the funniest story, like prank, embarrassing story you've faced in your life or somewhere around you that you know?
Prank.
Like could be worse, funny stories.
Shit, that's a difficult question. No,
Yeah,
you want to start?
we don't do funny stories.
Ah, come on, why?
We don't. We don't do
We
that.
always say white people. You know that no, you don't understand. Only black people say that. There's some stuff where when people do it, that's white people shit. Those kind of crazy story. Because on my last podcast, I said some of the stories that things happened to me, and one of the stories I will tell you guys. I used to dance, and we used to perform, and I usually get nervous, going. And when I get nervous, I go to the bathroom. I take a doo-doo. So one day I went to the bathroom. There was no water, because that's our first option. Then there was no toilet paper, but I had a bottle of water, and I washed my ass. But luckily, or whatever, that bottle touched my ass. That means there was shit in the top of the bottle.
Oh.
And I closed the tap, went back to the stage, and my friend, when we were walking to the stage, my friend was like, "Oh, can I have some water?" He opened the bottle, drank the water,
No.
and then there was doo-doo on his face. You know what I mean? So I say, story like that. So I ask people to write me, their most embarrassing stories. So, Gustav is really thinking hard. Like, what
Yeah.
is funny about me?
Nothing like that.
No, I was just thinking about white people and black people again.
Come on, bring it back. Bring the race, not racism. Bring the races back.
The race? You're talking about me.
In the races, bring it back.
Yeah. In the races.
Come on.
You can do it.
No, I'm just thinking about racism in general, because I was an exchange student in Texas when I was 17, and there's some stories, but it's not fun.
Come on,
But it's not,
give me one.
It's
give me
like,
one.
because that was proper races, because that's where all the slaves went. And I was thinking, when we were eating lunch in the cafeteria there, you had the white kids sitting in one place, you had the Mexican kids sitting in another place, and the black kids sitting in another place, and the nerds sitting.
Wow, the most dangerous group of all.
Yeah. I was with the nerds, but it's like
the most discriminated one.
yeah. No, but I was thinking because you had the black white kids and the Mexicans, and then I was thinking this is nobody's telling these kids, because it was 1999. So it's people aren't saying, "You're black, you can't sit here. You're white, you can't sit here." But it's I'm thinking that this started in the 60s in the 100 years ago. They were saying, "No, you're white, you sit there. You're black, you sit there."
They had toilets. These are the nigger toilets. These are white people toilets.
It was a real thing back then. And then they said one day, this is not a thing anymore. But people still sit. You're sitting here, you're sitting there. So it's it's so deep somehow.
Wow. When the nerd section where you were, is it also okay? There's a nerd, but this is a white nerd.
No.
Like a sub table.
No, there were only 10 of us. So we were sitting
all
next to-
inclusive.
Yeah. It was
Look
very
at the
inclusive.
nerds, very progressive.
Very progressive nerds. Yeah, it was the skateboarders, and it's very different. But you hear. But there, that's the thing. I tell people sometimes I have a racist friendly face. People are comfortable with the racism with me somehow. And in Texas, that's dialed it up to 11.
Wow. So you're admitting you are a little bit racist.
I'm not racist, but I am.
He got scared right away. You should have seen his face.
Yeah. Well, it's a big R word, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
This guy is fired on Monday.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm thinking. I'm just like, I'm a bit scared. But it's like, I'm not racist. So, but
But
people are comfortable with the racism around me. And that's weird. I feel.
because they. Oh, you mean the other white people, or what kind of people? When you say they are comfortable?
Yeah, white people. Yeah. And
So
also
you-
like with no, but what I was gonna say, in Texas 20 years ago, and I think it hasn't changed much. You would hear a lot of wild things.
Yeah.
And then I was playing basketball as well, and I was the only white guy on the basketball team. And then you would hear the wild things there
About-
somehow.
yeah.
But then you would see like,
Wait. You played basketball
yeah.
with a lot of black people, and you survived.
Yeah.
Larry Bird of Sweden.
Yeah. No, but it's
And
like,
they say white men can't jump.
but then you would kind of feel the experience of black people in Texas, because we were going to games some places, and the coach would be like, we can't stay in this place for a long time because this is Klan country.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like,
Jeez.
it's a thing down there somehow, and it's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is weird, but it's still happening.
Yeah. And it's that's what I'm saying. Like, it's 20 years ago, but I think 20 years before that, it was like
Even
even
worse.
worse.
Yeah.
You know?
How can you say about Sweden when it comes to racism? Do you see, because your ear is different from my eye and my ear?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I want to. Oh Jesus, I'm just digging holes.
Come on, it's okay.
No, but I think the Swedish racism is a lot more about xenophobia. People coming in here. Like, the American racism was kind of worse because it was slavery, you know? It's coming from slavery.
Don't act like Swedish people didn't do slaves.
Yeah, but we didn't. Yeah. But Swedish people were slaves as well at some point.
Yeah,
So it's a different.
it was a business back then. It didn't matter, to be honest. Whoever's in power will have prisoners.
Kind of like that. But I think Swedish, like, when I hear old people talking about, like, using derogatory words to describing foreigners, you're just like, it's weird. Like, how much do you take the debate somehow? Like, how much do you put your foot down and say things?
Yeah.
Well, I recently learned that even in Sweden, you were discriminating yourself. There was, I guess, there was a part where there were people who were considered a high value people with a good gene, that they were classed on the top, and the people with they look at the face and the nose, how you're shaped and everything, and you are classed somewhere. Like, when I learned that, I'm like, even you discriminate you?
Did you not know about the race? What do you call it? Race biological. What's it called?
I don't know.
Racial Biological Institute
Probably,
in
yeah.
one of the universities.
No, I
Sweden
didn't.
was a leading science.
Yeah,
leading the science on race biology.
Yeah. Eugenics, I think it's called.
Ah,
like,
yeah, it might be,
like
yeah.
when they measure the skulls.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I heard.
calculating.
Yeah.
This is like a horse thief or something like this.
Wow. Like, I was fascinated to hear that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. For traveling, you get to learn. Like for me, when I heard that, I'm like, wow. So if black people didn't exist in the world, there would still be racism or discrimination in one way or another. Like, that's what I feel like. Because when I heard that, I'm like, okay, maybe these people are discriminating against their own people, because we consider you are all one. Because to us, it doesn't matter what skull, nose, eye, you're white. So there was always, because what's you are around, that's what you're gonna deal with the problem with. So you are around yourselves, and that was the problem. That's how I feel.
Could you do? But do you know Tito? Yeah, because his special was called "We Are Racists." That's because that was like racism.
He got a lot of shit.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's like racism within kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what group he would
No,
classify it as.
I'm not sure, but I just remember it being, they canceled one of the localities.
Yeah.
It was a big thing. It was like the place, like Big Ben, like not the club Big Ben, but like the actual bar Big Ben
Yeah,
refused to host it at their place after all the stand-up they've done like every day.
Yeah.
I don't know how long, and that was like tipped over. They wouldn't want to have "We are racist" on the outside door.
So for, to me, when I heard that, I didn't know much, but when I heard that, it was just okay. If someone says that I have a special, I'm racist, I would want to hear what you mean you're racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the concept here? So if maybe you hear what they're saying, maybe they're not trying to say they're racist. Maybe, to acknowledge like these things happen, racism, and how we can, like, to me, that was like, come on, guys. And the people who are organized, it's not like KKK, whatever. Like, most of them, there was Deny in it, right? Deny. He was in Tito.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, support.
Yeah, supporting and Tito. Like half of the cast were like foreigners who are not, So maybe there's a message to it. When I heard that, like I was like, okay, I'm sorry, maybe they missed out on this. But going back to racism, to me, it's a different eye and ear from you guys. Like, cause a lot of things are said to me, more like it. And some of them you don't understand. Some of them I don't feel it's racism. It's just knowledge. People don't understand much.
Ignorance.
Yeah. And some words are very hurtful. If I use it towards you, I say, oh, you people are very this. It's not very hurtful because it's never been used in a hurtful way. For us, like when you say you people, once I was told at work, I asked, why am I getting so much work than everyone? And you still give more. It's like, oh, because you people can, your physicality, you can work. And I mean, what do you mean by you people? You know what I mean?
Holy.
So for me, like, she's not racist. I don't feel like she is, but she took these things she grew up with, how to say it, and she's repeating them into another person. So if I just get mad and go to the big bosses and say, no, she shouldn't have said that, to me, I feel like that's useless, and I had to sit with her the next day. I think, like, okay, if you refer to what my ability, please don't use the word "you people."
Yeah, gee.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to know, and then you're like, oh, was that offensive? I'm like, yeah, that was offensive. So I hear a lot of things, but nowadays I don't get mad because I understand most of it. It doesn't come from very hard place. But even if someone is racist nowadays, I don't get mad. I feel like, why am I gonna waste my energy?
Yeah.
To this person.
But it's also like when I hear someone telling me racist things, like I'm kind of writing that person off somehow. It's like I'm not trusting you anymore somehow.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, this is weird,
Yeah.
Within the comedy scenes, have you guys met people are like a little bit racist, you think?
I'm not sure actually, not awfully much.
Don't think so, no.
No. This is
But I think
pilot guy who always got
I think the people that are that, they kind of own that somehow and say it to anyone somehow.
Yeah.
I feel. And then I like some people who say things you're not sure if they're kidding or not somehow.
Yeah, I feel like you can easily use, as a comedian, you can easily use that shield, I'm joking. But if you haven't constructed your jokes in a very nicer way.
Yeah.
So I told you this earlier. Like, I have this Arab joke. When I do it, all the Swedish people goes tucking in like turtles. And all the Arab jokes, the Arab people, like, they laugh their asses off. Like, someone had to find me on Instagram and say, yo, bro, that joke was really good. Can I take it? Yeah. I'm like, can I explain it to people? I'm like, yeah, sure, explain it to people. But, it's like I was talking to these Arabs, and it's an Arab joke, but all the Swedish people feel very uncomfortable. So it depends how you tell it. And for me, if you're telling a joke on a race or this group of people, if those group of people get to laugh and have fun on the joke, then for me, that jokes work. Because other people, they're not sure, like, if I laugh, are they going to be offended or not? And I told you there was a guy who was really laughing, but not loud. He was trying to hold himself. He was white. He was trying to hold, and his girlfriend was, like, punching him, like, don't laugh at this, don't laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't laugh at this. And at the end, I went, and she was still mad at him. I'm like, that's why I was telling jokes for people to laugh. You cannot be mad at him. And then for me to have those two Arabs at the audience, that they were the one who laughed the most because it was an Arab joke. I'm like, yeah, then I think like I won at the joke because these are the people I'm speaking about.
Yeah. No, I'm now thinking about embarrassing, funny stories
Go ahead.
But it was when I was flying in Turkey,
Mm.
and it was, Turkey, Sweden, we have some history or some weird history,
Yeah.
and there's this Kurdish
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. We talked about that on your podcast. a
Maybe,
little bit.
yeah. And I was flying with this captain. We were flying in the east of Turkey, and he said, because you're alone in the flight deck, like you're two people, and you're sitting there for like 7 hours in a day. So you try to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
And so the guys asked me, so why do Swedish people hate us Turkish people? And I was like, oh, Jesus, I have to be diplomat here. And I said, well,
This is when I crashed the plane.
yeah. So I was like, oh, well, in Sweden, there's a lot of journalists from Kurdish places, because you can't say the word Kurdistan, because that's...
You got that.
yeah. So
Tread
there's a
lightly.
lot of Kurdish people, and they have a lot of influence in the media and everything. And some of them are like they supported the PKK and something like this. And the captain got really angry, and he said, "I'm Kurdish, and I fucking hate the PKK." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, well." Swedish people aren't really. It's like the same kind of. I kind of have to be a diplomat for your people somehow.
Mm.
But it was okay after that. But it was like, there's a lot of. It's a whole thing as well, because I know a lot of Turkish people. They love the Greeks, but the governments, they hate each other somehow. Like the people are fine with each other, but I think the Greeks, they don't like the Turks maybe. But I think it's because they took all their food.
Jeez.
And renamed it for Turkish names.
Yeah, that happens. People come to Africa, take I remember this exactly. There's mangoes. These mangoes you only get in few different places.
Yeah.
And they will buy a lot and ship them and say, these come from this country. And I'm like, no, this breed of mangoes only comes from tropical 3-4 countries, because we have different types of mangoes. Like when I come to Sweden, there's only 2 to 3 mangoes you can buy. Horrible taste.
Like,
all right?
there's a dilemma with the mangoes, because the best ones are the ones that have been transported by air, so they're like really fresh.
The best
Then you have the climate aspect of it, and it's like really bad.
Yeah, the best ones are the one that riped on a tree.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best mango. If the mango is ready to be eaten whilst on the tree, because mango, where I grew up, mango had to fall itself. Or when it's at the verge of falling, then that's when you go and pick them up. You don't pick them up when they're not done, because even birds and other animals like bush baby and monkeys, they don't eat them.
What's the other one? Bush baby?
Bush baby.
What's a bush baby? That sounds like a very racist term.
If you use it,
Gotta
yes.
stop them,
If you use it, yes. So bush baby is a very cute, look like monkey and.
So like a loris, right?
Have you seen Madagascar?
Yeah.
What's the name of those King Julian?
King
yeah.
Julian. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like King Julian.
Yeah.
But this one, they have good visions at night, not during the day.
But I think it's like the guy, in Madagascar, like the little shy one.
Yeah,
Lemurs
yeah,
is kind of
like
one.
those one. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
that has a very squeaky voice. King Julian.
Oh, yeah.
That one, yeah.
That's
so
a good
that's
version.
what a bush baby.
Bush baby. Okay.
Yeah, so they're very cute but very annoying. They eat papayas, mangoes, and pineapples. But if they don't touch it, that means it's not ready.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
But if so the mangoes that we get here, they probably picked them when they were not ripe.
Not ripe,
And
and
then
the
they-
color is more added. There is no mango on a real mango tree that looks so yellow all over the place, because if mango is growing like this and it goes with the sun. So if the sun goes here, so this side doesn't get the sun. This side will still be a little bit green while this side is yellow.
So you're describing is that a real mango, you have two colors on the...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have two colors and it's not perfect,
Oh, yeah.
and it smells good. The mango here, you have to put it all the way onto if I came with mango and I put them there, you would ask, what is that smell? If you don't know, and I'm like, oh, that's mango.
Yeah.
But you can have 50 mangoes that you buy in Sweden, they don't smell shit.
Same with tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like in Sweden, we have very nice looking tomatoes, but
But
they
very-
water balloons, kind of like.
Spain have better tomatoes, I believe.
Yeah, they have ugly tomatoes that are much tastier.
Ugly, dang. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Throwing
Spanish
shade,
people.
Throwing
Okay, if you
shade.
wanna get him, when are you performing again?
I don't think I think I'm going on a. What do you call it? I'm going
Strike.
to condemned. No? What do you call it? I'm going to the island of Elba.
All right. Sorry guys, we started the podcast early and didn't record anything, and we had to do it again, and it became very boring. And I thought,
If you only had heard us before, the most
Yes.
golden material ever created by mankind.
yes, and no, I'm grateful you guys are here. Thank you so much for coming and
Thank you.
for supporting. And I hope I learn a lot. I'm developed right now from you, Harry, even though you didn't speak much. And I'm gonna bother Gustav to give me free tickets to travel places. All right, guys. Thank you for today, and
Thank you.
goodbye.